Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to our guests, Agnes Trosse and Manuel González, for sparing their time to join us for today's interview. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Regina. I'm responsible for the Livestock Genetics from Spain project, which is a part of the ABAS. I will also like to extend my sincere thanks to ANCCE, the Royal Purebred Spanish Horse Breeders Association, and SICAB. I would like as well to introduce our guests. First of all, Agnes. She's a chief editor of Fine Hilton magazine. She's a versatile professional with a rich background in the equestrian field. And in addition to her editorial role, she excels as an author, translator, instructor, emphasizing knowledge base in horsemanship. And on the other hand, we have Manolo González, the executive secretary of ANCCE. He brings over 25 years of management expertise. He is recognized for his role in ANCCE in driving continuous improvement and fostering collaboration with the equestrian sectors, both nationally and internationally. Okay, so to start with, Agnes, where does your passion for horses come from?
Well, I actually literally always loved horses already from the age of 2 years old. I got on the nerves of my parents actually. So and wanted to ride, and so I think it's a little bit inherited with me.
And you, Manolo, where does your passion for horses come from?
Well, I don't have a tradition of horses in my family or friends or my people around me, but I started working for ANCCE in 1995. And since then, I got a horse lover. You know, I like what I do. And of course, I love the PRE horse. That is my special breed.
Agnes, talking about the magazine you have worked for many years, how do you perceive this magazine, especially considering your experience working under the former chief editor and before assuming the role of chief editor right now?
Well, I have to say I always really loved this magazine because already under the former chief editor, who was a close friend of mine, it conveyed even back then certain principles in relation to the horse that I could identify with. And it has always been very important to me that horses are treated well. So I also work as a trainer myself, and as such, I attach great importance to the horse's well-being. And I therefore work according to classical principles, and I'm a trainer for classical Baroque riding. And here in this domain, we refer back to the old writings of masters such as François Robichon de la Guérinière, but also in keeping with an academic approach to the latest findings in terms of handling, behavior, and medicine. And that's the reason why I'm also especially interested in approaches such as the one of Warwick Schiller or Sharon Wilsey from America, who work with the idea of connection and new approach to communication with horses. And Feine Hilfen, the magazine I worked for, always stood for this classical approach, but accompanied by the scientific knowledge that dominance theories have to be banished in horse training. And my personal approach with the magazine was then to show the positive things, to show good postures of the horse, correct equipment, happy horses. And therefore, I banished, for example, in 2018, flash straps on photos or illustrations used in the magazine, as an example now. Yes, really tried to make a difference by showing the good things and not the bad things of horse business.
How many numbers of the magazine have you published? Can you name your favorite ones? Actually, I don't know it's difficult, but what do you think?
I published 35 issues, this since 2018. And my favorite issues were definitely the 4 issues I realized about academic riding in France, Portugal, Austria, and Spain. And this because I really like to see things from a different perspective. And that's why I wanted as well in these countries, the people to speak in the magazine and not to write about them from my point of view, because that was very important for me in these 4 magazines, to show really another point of view and to bring maybe as well a shift of point of view to the readers of the magazine. And furthermore, I liked all those issues that dealt with communication and understanding of the horse behavior and perception, and the issue about working equitation, because I really like working equitation and all these traditional working styles. And while saying all this, I have to admit that, in fact, I really like to work on each issue through these 6 years I worked for the magazine. It's not journalists writing, but horse trainers, specialists around horses, like hoof practitioners, or the issue I could learn a lot of things myself from these people. So,
But talking more deeply about the Spanish issue, what was the first thing that came to your mind when you decided to dedicate a number of the magazine you are working for to the equestrian art of Spain?
yes. So in the beginning, I was a little bit afraid, to be honest, because I don't really speak Spanish. And the purpose of the magazine was to show the Spanish view on the horse, as I said before, and on horse riding and the historical impact horses from Spain had on horse riding in the whole world. And but it was very difficult for me to find really sources and as well to find persons that are from Germany. It was very difficult to find out who would be good persons to speak to for this magazine as well. And so fortunately I found Manolo who could help me. And I also found some old books, definitely, and some people that could tell me as well about the history. And what I found very interesting is that Spain is a country that is a little bit neglected in this historical approach, because people always speak about France and about Italy when it comes to the development of academic riding. But in fact, all those people already learned from the Spanish, what I found out. So Spain is very, very important, had a big impact on the history of horse riding. So that's something that I found very cool.
And for your part, Manolo, what did you think when Agnes contacted you to dedicate an issue to the equestrian art in the country?
To me, it was a nice surprise because Germany is one of our most important markets, most interesting markets, because of the number of people riding horses there and the power of the horse industry there in Germany. So as always, I was willing to help her the best that I could, and even the focus or the idea that she had very clear in her mind to approach the academic equestrian was also new for me, because usually when someone comes to ANCCE or to Spain to write something, they are focused on a particular writer or a particular show or some area in Spain, but she was focused on something more generic and more interesting. So for me, I had to think several times before giving her the contacts, because I was not sure of approaching her to the best possible people. So for me, it was all an exercise of growing in the knowledge of the sector in Spain, because it was really interesting. She sent me the magazines for Portugal or France that she had issued before, so that I could learn what she was looking for. And okay, she was a little bit demanding about the contacts, which is great because she already knew what she wanted to do. So at the end, we could manage and to get along and to bring the right people. And I am very happy with the result of the magazine, and very grateful for her to think of Spain as a issue of interest for her readers.
Okay, so I'm sure it was the first time that someone asked you to write about this, right?
About this topic, yes. About the horse in Spain and the Spanish horse and the history and blah blah blah. I had some other offers from China, from the USA, from Germany too, and one of my tasks is try to promote the breed abroad. And I remember that in Equitana, I was visiting some. Equitana is a very big horse show in Germany every 2 years in Essen, close to Düsseldorf, and I always was there trying to find some editorial companies to try to publish books or magazines or whatever. I remember meeting with Cadmos, which is I guess the biggest, or write a review, or Fair the magazine, to try to do this that Agnes brought to me, something about the Spanish horse, and with contents given by ANCCE or supported by ANCCE, whatever. So although I didn't know Agnes to meet, I was familiar with this work because I had planned it before, but with no results.
Agnes, for your part, can you tell us your experience discovering all the equestrian art here in Spain?
I think for me, today, the equestrian art in Spain is very much linked to the work in the fields. So the Doma Vaquera is for me really an art, and it's impressive to see horses and riders do this. On the other hand, there is the equestrian school from Jerez or the one from Cordoba. They refer a little bit to the art of riding of the old kings and masters. And it is interesting, in my opinion, to see the different approaches of the riding schools in Europe and the different focuses they set in their work. And the riding world in Spain is furthermore completely different, which was a surprise for me as well, from the ones in Germany or in France, where I lived several years as well. Because I'd say the main difference is that it is still very much domain of men. There are more and more women now, but it's not like in Germany where we have 80% of women. So this already makes, I think, a big difference in the approaches as well. And yeah, I found this very interesting.
And what was the thing that surprised you the most?
Me the most was the fact that it is really this very, very rich and deep culture related to the horse. And that, in fact, in my opinion, Spain is the cradle of the horse riding in Europe, and that its horses and riders were most influential for the whole development of horse riding and academic approaches, but that the most riders from Spain don't even know a lot about it, and that a lot of things are not even known by a lot of people in the world. And I think the impact Spain had on the development of horse riding in the world is mainly underestimated by setting the main focus on masters from Italy or France, as I said before. And we should speak more about this heritage, I think.
Okay, and did it change your perception of the pure Spanish horse after creating this dedicated magazine?
No, I already really loved the PRE horse before creating the magazine. And but I learned so much more about it while traveling in Spain and speaking with all the people I've been speaking to. And I really loved how open everybody was with me and how proud to show me their work. And I was especially impressed by the organization of the breed by the ANCCE and how future orientated it is. I think that it is a very, very good thing, and gives me a lot of hope that there will be a way to equilibrate mistakes in, for example, breeding organizations in Germany did in the past. And I think it's very good, in my opinion. Yeah, for example, in Germany, the problem is, from my point of view at the moment, that the breeding was too much going in on gates and spectacular movements. And I think that this has to be a little bit equilibrated now, because they've forgot a little bit about the brains of the horses, in my opinion, and about the interior and healthy exterior. There are a lot of horses now that are hyper flexible, for example, in Germany. And so I think the approach of the ANCCE as well, to see now with what I saw in Sevilla on the genetic laboratory, that to check on inherited illnesses, etc., is really very, very good approach.
And how do you think the PRE is perceived from a foreign country, for example, Germany?
I think already that the PRE, for example, in Germany, is definitely perceived as a breed with a very long history. And but it's always, it depends on the circle of persons you are asking, in my opinion. As a trainer for Baroque horses, I see a lot of misunderstandings in Germany of the PRE, because they can't be worked exactly like a German horse, which is much taller and longer. And so often when they are trained in the same way, there are problems occurring. So and then you have different groups of people, I think, that are interested in buying a horse. And there are in Germany, unfortunately, a lot of people who want to buy rather a cheap horse. And they will not buy a PRE, for example, with a breeder, but they will buy a horse maybe from Spain, maybe from some seller in Germany who bought one in Spain. And there is a lot of business done with horses that are brought cheaply from Spain to Germany and sold here as Spanish horses, and the people don't even really know where they come from. That's, in my opinion, a big problem. So I tell my pupils always that they have to really, the best is to buy with the breeder and to know where the horse comes from. And then on the other hand, we have a market for sport horses in Germany. And the people who are buyers on this side of the table normally don't buy so much PRE, but rather the German warm blood. And in between these two groups, you have quite a big group of people who buy PRE, who know about the PRE as well, and who are interested in a good leisure horse that could also be able to learn piaffe, passage, and maybe even airs above the ground. And we have, in my opinion, even still growing group of those people who are interested in classical and nice work with a horse. And those people normally have an understanding of the Spanish horse, but they are specialists. And the perception depends absolutely on the horizon of the person you speak to and what they want.
And for you, Manolo, with your international experience with the PRE, what do you think is the PRE perceived all over the world? Can you name an example?
Well, first of all, I fully agree with what Agnes just mentioned about the German market and their perception of our horses. And I thank her whenever we talk about this issue for her sincerity. So it's true, you know. The only way to face the truth is trying to be better and try to improve and so on. The main features of the Spanish horse worldwide are beauty. It's a beautiful horse with the manes and the round shape, the high movements in their hands and so on, in their knees. So first of all, it's beautiful, elegant, if you say, handsome, and then their temperament. They are really easy to ride. They are really smart when they are training, and when you want to show them or to teach them some exercises, they learn really fast. So it's an ideal horse for a leisure rider. Luckily, besides having a very nice saddle horse and very safe because of their temperament, they don't get scared easily. They learn easy, and they are fast learners. They have a very, very good heart. They are always giving the rider whenever he or she demands. They are trying to give the most of them to the rider. So these are the main features. But besides this, in the last decades, we were working hard for the sports also, especially dressage, some driving, and now we are starting with working equitation. So it's not just a beautiful horse anymore, it's also a useful horse for sports like dressage. We won the silver medal in the Olympic Games in Athens in 24. Then we have in the last World Championship, we got a horse in the finals in Herning in Denmark 2 years ago or last year, I don't remember exactly. And in the national team, we are getting more and more PRE horses. So we think we are on the right way. Like Agnes said, for us it's very important to keep the mindset of the Spanish horse. Okay, trying to have it more athletic, but we never forget that it's a saddle horse in his basics. So we need to keep this extraordinary temperament for the rider, because a huge majority of riders in the world are leisure riders, and this is our market. People who ride just to enjoy. When I see people riding some sport breeds, I see them fighting the horse anytime that they ride. When I see them riding the PRE horses, I always tell my friends that when you see a Spanish rider leaving the arena, they are smiling and they are nice. When you see someone leaving the arena on other horses, they are sweating, red faces, because they have been suffering the whole test. So I think these are the main features or characteristics of our breed abroad. Beautiful, nice, very good heart, an easy learner, an easy rider.
You highlighted the characteristics of the PRE, but for you, Agnes, what's the characteristic that you like the most?
The intelligence and the intelligence. As I said, I often have PRE in as horses of my pupils, and it amazes me how intelligent they are and how much they want to work with you. And then it's maniability and beauty, as you said, Manolo. It's the beauty.
How was your experience in SICAB? Did it achieve your expectations, Agnes?
Absolutely, yes. I was amazed, and it was really above my expectations. The whole time in Sevilla was just great.
Manolo, after many editions of the SICAB fair, what could you highlight from them?
Well, SICAB is very unknown, but by a lot of equestrian people in the world, unluckily. But it's a place where you can find over 1,000 PRE horses, only PRE horses, in 8 different competitions. We start with conformation, the World Championship of the PRE horse in conformation. Then we have dressage, working equitation, doma vaquera, alta escuela, jumping, driving, side saddle, and riding. And well, it's the meeting point for PRE horse lovers, owners, breeders, once a year in Seville. And I think that we do it pretty well, but we don't sell it properly. I have the experience of a lot of people, like Agnes, for instance, which is the most recent that I have, that has been visiting horse shows all over the world, for a long time. And now they get impressed when they come to SICAB because maybe she heard of it, but she wasn't present anytime, I guess. And they are impressed of what they see. The arenas, the people. In SICAB, you can see what Agnes said before, the connection, the link between our people, our society, our traditions, and the horse. Spain is really a horse country. We don't sell it overseas. We are not good sellers of ourselves. We don't spread the word. But the school in Vienna, in Austria, is called the Spanish Riding School. It's one of the most prestigious in the world, but it was a Spanish riding school. I mean, the way that the Spaniards rode the horses in the past. But everybody knows Vienna, and not so many people know Jerez, for instance. SICAB is something like that. It's a wonderful show with over 200,000 visitors. And we are a breeders organization, so we are not looking for money. We are non-profit, but SICAB is our showcase for our loved horse, the PRE horse. It's the place where we show the best of the breed in different equestrian disciplines.
And how would you do it to make the PRE more visible? For example, or the PRE and the SICAB fair as well. What would you do?
Well, one of the things that we did we started streaming all the tests, all the sports in SICAB, all the tests since 26. So it's over almost 20 years since we started streaming all the tests, so that people could see our horse, because nobody can come to Seville. Not everybody can come to Seville in these dates. So we record all of them, and they are available for free on demand on our website, sicab.tv. We also work with ICEX, the Commerce Ministry of Spain, to promote the breeding in other countries. This year we are starting with Germany and the USA. We have been working with them since 1993. And we have the horses bred in 70 countries in the world, all the European Union, almost all the American continent, some parts in Africa, some parts in Asia, and of course Australia. I think that the tourism can help us, because we are a very powerful destination. I think that after France, Spain is the most visited country in the world, with over, 30 million people every year. Especially a lot of Europeans buy Spanish horses because they were in the beach in Spain or whatever for holidays, and they saw some horses there in some equestrian clubs or smaller clubs or equestrian schools, and that's why they buy. So tourism is really a very powerful partner for us. And also the international results of our horses. Whenever we have a horse doing well in dressage or in driving, but dressage is more popular, we receive questions in ANCCE, in our Facebook or in our website, asking for the type of horse and how could they buy a horse like that, and blah, blah, blah. So we have to invest money, of course, also in promotion, like we are doing now with the Commerce Ministry of Spain in Germany and in the States. And we have some allies, like the associations of breeders in different countries, which also spread the word of the PRE horse. So we have a very hard task ahead, but it's really challenging and encouraging.
Going back to the SICAB experience, there is something that would you change? It's a question for the both of you.
Nothing. I mean, there are some points about horse welfare I would change, but that is more a global problem than a problem of the SICAB. Some tests I thought it should be much more thought about the balance of the horse instead of creating spectacular movements. But as I said, that's a global problem. I think that's generally in sports nowadays a thing that you see, and it's not something you only see in SICAB or in Spain. So that's but apart from that, I was really, as I said, I was amazed. It was a very good experience for me, and I learned a lot of things during that show.
Yeah, we are always trying to improve. Last year, for instance, was the first time that we did a selection in the confirmation show. Before that, of course, you had to qualify in the different confirmation shows in Spain and all over the world. We have around 90 shows all over the world. And last year we reduced the number of finalists to 25 per test to get more quality over more quantity, so that people that come to SICAB see the really top 25 horses in the breed every year. So now we are on the other part increasing the number of horses in dressage, because the filter to be in the final at SICAB in dressage is stricter than in conformation. So we will have some more horses in dressage. Instead of 11, we will have 15, because for us it's very important to develop and increase the level of our horses in dressage. So that's another news for this year. And maybe I would like to have some, but the problem in SICAB is we don't have any more room. You know, we cover everything, all the facilities of the Palace of Congresses of Seville. But I would love to have some more room for some VIP hospitality. I see it in every show. I love it. I think it's very interesting for sponsors, for breeders, for owners. But we don't have it in SICAB as nice as we would like. So maybe this would be a new part of SICAB in the future.
Okay, and to end with the interview as well, I would like to ask a question for both of you. And what would you recommend to someone who is looking for a PRE? What would you say to them?
I would tell them to ask at the ANCCE to give recommendations. First, for trustful people who can help you to find exactly the horse you need. And furthermore, I'd always go and meet the breeder. If I would help somebody to buy a horse, I would always tell him to go see the breeder, and yeah, to have a look at the horse, to get to know it a little bit before I buy it, not to buy it just from the internet or something like this. And then I would recommend as well to have a look at the facilities. How are the horses brought up? What does the mother and father look like? How do they live? What about the region the horses are brought up in? What impact has this on their hooves, their feeding, etc.? Because this is very important later on for the horse, because you have to know how you have to feed it afterwards. And question that I think today is very important as well is how long the foals are allowed to stay with their mother, and then how is the upbringing after they are separated from the mother. Do they live in groups and learn to be social? Because all these things are very important, because in Germany we don't have so much space to keep them, and they are kept in groups and not in boxes nowadays, most of the times, if they are leisure horses. So they have to be social, they have to have learned how to be social, and so that's some points that get the more and more important in my point of view for people who buy horses. And I recommend rather to pay more money for a horse than that had an optimal upbringing than to pay less and have an issue later because the horse was ridden too early or is traumatized because of a bad training, etc. So all these recommendations, they are not only for PRE, but for all breeds. But nevertheless, I think that's something that's that's important as well when looking for PRE.
I thoroughly agree with Agnes again. I would strongly recommend the use of social media. I mean, Facebook, Instagram, or even the websites. This is very important to save time and money when you are looking for a horse. You can ask always for more information to the people that own the horse that you are looking for or that you like. I mean, especially breeders. I would recommend to follow some breeders, see pictures, ask for more pictures, ask for videos. And then when you have your idea of the horse that you are really focused on, that you really liked, then like Agnes says, go to the farm, visit the owner, visit the breeder, ride the horse, ask for information, see the parents, see the relatives, etc. Our horses are social. Genetically, they are social, and in fact, we don't have to castrate them because the temperament is nice. You can see in SICAB, not last year because it was only 25 finalists in the conformation show, but you could see 30, 40 foals, males, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years together on the arena with no problems at all. But it's important that you test your horse before you ask for the ancestors. If you can see them, it's better because now, like Agnes said, you can make an idea of what you are buying. And I will also check with the owner of the horse or the breeder the use of your horse. What do you want your horse for? Is for competition? Is for just leisure riding at home? Because then you can get more interesting information from the source, from the origin of the horse, and see. Of course, also it's a vet check is important. It depends, of course, also on the budget that you have to buy your horse. It's not the same vet check and the importance of a vet check for a horse for the Olympics and for a horse for you to keep at your home. But it's also important to have some vet check, a contract, and an agreement of purchase is also important. And ask us in ANCCE any information that you would like regarding the horse or the owner or whatever. We are happy to help anyone with approaching information about the horse that they are looking for. We have a website of the stat book. The stat book has a website that is lgantce.com, where you can check the database of all the PRE horses in the world with the genealogical trees to check the parentage and the ancestors and so on. And it is free access. So yes, I think that this is the most important things when you are trying to buy a PRE horse.
I totally agree with what Manolo said. Just one thing in Germany is a very big problem, which is a pity that we can't keep the horses as stallions. It's really it's nearly not possible if you don't have your own stable here in Germany, even if the horse is super, super nice and super social. The problem is really that you don't find a stable where people are okay with stallions or have experience with stallions. That's the most important problem. And as there is not really much experience with stallions and with nice stallions, there is a lot of fear of stallions, and so you can't keep them here, unfortunately. So they have to be castrated.
Yeah, this is true. This is an issue for the European market because horses are stabled in class. So you hire the box, and maybe beside you have a pony and a mare. So this is why they don't accept stallions. But we have stallions in Spain, so it's usual that the buyer buys the horse and then they cut them and that's all, and they take him to. After the horse is recovered, they go to the final destination in Germany or in Holland or whatever.
Thank you so much for the opportunity of doing this interview. And well, actually, I look forward to hear from you soon. And yeah, that's all. Have a great day.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Take care, Agnes.